Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to you all. Thank you for just waiting those couple of minutes. We just let a few more people in to start the session. It's great to have you here to kick off our mentoring program for 2023. If you haven't already, just make sure your microphones and cameras are off. This session is being recorded. My name is Jennifer, and I will be your host for today's session. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which the Royal Society of New South Wales stands, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. Joining me today is Georgia Pascoe, our Client Relationship Manager from Mentor Loop. You will see her on the screen. Mentor Loop is the software that we're going to be using for our mentoring program this year. And Georgia will be taking you through its interface to show you all the things it can do and helpful resources that you'll have available over the next 9 months. I'll also introduce you to Sophie, who's sitting next to me today. She will be your program coordinator moving forward for the next 9 months. Our session today is scheduled to go for approximately 30 minutes to an hour, including question time at the end. If you have any questions during the session, please use the raise the hand function within Teams, and we will address these if we can throughout the session or at the end. Okay, so to give you an overview of the program today. So we're going to be going through an overview of the program, followed by some quick tips on what makes mentoring successful and what skills are needed as a mentee. And then we'll have Georgia from Mentor Loop share her screen and take you through the mentoring platform, followed by Q&A at the end. Okay, so program overview. The program officially launches on the 31st of March, which is tomorrow, once all training has taken place for mentors and mentees. The program officially launches, I've told you that. Our commitment to the program is 1 meeting per month, whether that be virtual, phone, or face-to-face if location permits. You and your mentor may like to commit to more, but it's completely up to you. However, our guidance states 1 meeting per month. Please reach out to your mentors in the first instance if you haven't already done so. I recommend at your first meeting to set out how you and your mentor would like to communicate. There is a mentoring agreement available on the Mentor Loop platform, which Georgia will show you a little later on, which can assist you in setting those communication styles up. The program will run for efficiently 9 months until mid-December. As mentoring can be very flexible, you may find that after 6 months that you've achieved your goals and the relationship can be naturally wound up, or you may find that you need the full 9 months, and that is also okay. Confidentiality. Know that your meetings and what you discuss is highly confidential and is it a safe space for you to share your views and experiences with your mentor. Your match, most of you should have received your matches, but if you haven't, please email us at mentoring. We'll show you that later on. It might just be that we're waiting for your payment details to come through, but if you have any questions, we'll give you some, I'll show you the email address at the end in which to contact us. Okay, so I'm going to go to our next slide now and talk about what is mentoring. So mentoring is a collaborative and mutually beneficial relationship between two people where one individual, being the mentee, seeks the professional development, guidance and advice and wisdom of another, being the mentor, that has greater or different experience. As a mentoring partnership, your topics can span across multiple avenues and touch on topics such as career progression, job interviewing, balancing work and personal life, salary reviews, and so forth. The advice and support you may receive might be based around your mentor's experience or something that they've learnt to do, or a step that someone has encouraged them to do and how they got there. This sharing of knowledge and experience is what mentoring is all about. It is not there to provide the answers to all your questions, but to help guide you, open your mind up to new ideas and perspectives. What makes a successful mentee? And what makes mentoring successful and what makes a successful mentee? Be open to new ideas and perspectives. This is an opportunity to be partnered with someone you wouldn't normally interact with on a daily basis. Be open to this experience and on receiving different perspectives. Build rapport. Take time at the start of the relationship to build rapport. Rapport building is essential to gain trust and to understand the person as a whole. Take the time to get to know them and use the profile icebreakers in their Mentor Loop profile to get a sense of who they are and what makes them unique. Listen. Be willing to receive information and be open to thinking differently and being challenged. Ready to listen to a range of different viewpoints. Listen to understand, not respond. Be proactive. You are in the driver's seat. Reach out to your mentor, set your meetings, write the agenda, and take responsibility for moving forward. Our mentors are volunteers and they want you to get the most out of the program. Please be mindful of their time and ensure you're responding to their emails in a timely manner and stick to your meeting schedule. At the commencement of the program, we all encourage you to use for mentees to reach out to their mentors in the first instance, if you haven't already done so. And as mentioned, I recommend you taking the mentoring agreement with you to your first meeting. Next one is to work together and accept advice. Even if it is outside your comfort zone, work on receiving this feedback and try doing something new with it. Work together to find solutions and don't expect your mentor to have all the answers. And finally, don't be afraid to ask questions. Your mentor is there to help guide and support you in a safe and non-judgmental environment. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my screen off and let Georgia from Mentor Loop share her screen, where she will take you through the platform.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to share.
Thanks, Georgia.
Perfect. Before we jump into the platform, I do just want to properly introduce myself. I'm from Mentor Loop. We're very excited to be working with the team at New South Wales Law Society on a successful mentoring program. So primarily today, I'll take you through the platform and make sure you have a good understanding of how to utilize Mentor Loop to enhance your mentoring experience and relationships. But yeah, first I do just want to give you a little bit of background on Mentor Loop. We are a female-founded company based in Australia, and we've been supporting programs since 2016. So we've been doing this for a little while now. The platform really is designed to help communities and organisations support their people. We work with a huge range of clients from non-profits to multinational corporations, ultimately all with a very similar goal of creating people first cultures. And philosophically, we do have a very sort of our own idea of what mentoring is. Usually, there is a traditional idea that mentoring relationships are quite exclusive and formed behind closed doors, sometimes only accessed by high-performing people. And the problem with this approach is that it really does favour the bold and a certain profile. So our philosophy is that we want to make these connections more accessible to everyone. And we acknowledge that it really can be difficult to navigate your professional life without additional support systems outside of your personal life or direct colleagues. So we hope that this program helps facilitate some of those things for you. And yeah, we'll jump into the demo now. So what you can see on screen is the dashboard of Mentor Loop. So your dashboard really is your main mentoring homepage where you can access all of your mentoring needs. When you first access the dashboard, which you probably have done so by now, a step-by-step tutorial will be there to help you navigate Mentor Loop and its key features. But we will take a bit of time today to take you through so you can have a better understanding. The first thing that we want to talk you through is the recommended reading. These are curated readings specific to the mentoring role that you have chosen. These readings could be specific resources from New South Wales Law Society or resources from our Help Hub. Keep an eye on them because they might change throughout the program, depending on whether your program coordinator has more things that they want to share with you. Many of them do link through to our Help Hub, where there's a huge myriad of resources there for you to take advantage of, but we'll touch more on that shortly. The second thing we want to take you through is the mentoring milestones. So you can see that widget at the top of the dashboard here. As the mentee, you are expected to drive this relationship. The milestones are there to help set you up for success, allowing you to track your progress and provide you with structured mentoring experience. This is especially beneficial for any of you that maybe are new to mentoring and don't know where to begin. The milestones provide you with some recommended tasks, readings, and also actions based on where you're at, ultimately to help you confidently navigate your way through, maybe the next step or the next meeting. So you'll notice that there's 5 milestones, and they're the 5 that you need to work your way through the 9-month mentoring program. It's likely right now you're currently somewhere between matching and having your first meeting. So there are some resources that you can leverage right now. I know Jen mentioned the mentoring agreement, but there's also the first meeting checklist. So if you haven't had your first meeting yet with your mentor or scheduled it, we really encourage you to have a look at this checklist. Ultimately, it's there to help you start to think about what you should come prepared with, what you can do during your meetings, to help you think about formulating that agenda prior to your first session. Your mentor also has a checklist for their specific role as well, which complements this so that you can both come prepared, with a similar agenda. The other thing that Jen mentioned is the mentoring agreement. So there's a link to the mentoring agreement on your milestones. This is a resource that's really helpful for you so that you can start to think about establishing ways of working, setting clear expectations, and maybe boundaries as you commence the partnership. We encourage you to take this with you to the first or second session with your mentor, just so you can both get on the same page and make sure that you're really setting yourself up for success. Lastly, on the milestones, obviously these are really important for you. They help you navigate your journey, but it also is important for the program coordinator because it helps them understand where you're actually at in your journey. So make sure that you're ticking these off so that Sophie has oversight and visibility on where you're at. Ultimately, it just allows her to step in or support you if something is going wrong for you, or maybe you don't have capacity anymore or something's happening. So that's the other important reason to be ticking those off. The next thing we want to talk about is goal setting. Goal setting is an essential part of mentoring. Our general guidance is to set these within the first or second meeting. When you do set goals in Mentor Loop, you'll be encouraged to fill out a few fields. This is to help you create SMART goals. If you're not familiar with that framework or acronym, it is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. So these prompts will guide you so that you are creating SMART goals. If you're not familiar with SMART goals, we do have lots of resources in our Help Hub so that you can leverage those and dive a little bit deeper into that framework. But as you set your goals in Mentor Loop and make sure that you do put them in here, you can then actually share it with your relevant mentor. This means that your mentor has access to the goals that you're setting, and can have a look at them, view the tasks that you've actually set out in order to achieve those goals, give you feedback and maybe help you craft them, but mostly have visibility over what it is that you're actually looking to get guidance on, so that they can maybe come prepared and preemptively look and say, okay, I can actually see that you're looking to develop this specific thing, and maybe they don't have that skill, but they've got someone in their network that does, that they could connect you with. So giving them a breakdown of what that goal is will just help them prepare and support you as best that they can. Mentors will also be expecting you to put your goals into your Mentor Loop one-to-one loop, so that they can review them. So just making sure that you do that when you're ready. The other thing on goals is that mentors can set goals too. So you might find that some of your mentors actually have their own goals for the program, which is really encouraged. This should be a reciprocal relationship. Just because you are the mentees doesn't mean that you don't have a lot of really valuable things to offer. They might be looking, to upskill in an area that you have, or they might simply be looking to get feedback on their leadership style or even their feedback style. So do keep an eye out for your mentor's goals as well. I'll just show you what a goal does look like once you've formulated it. So you've got the top level goal, and then you can actually tick off the sub goals that you create and set deadlines for them as well. So that brings us to matching. By now you should have been put in your loop. So what we refer to as loop in Mentor Loop is your mentoring connection via a process called smart matching. If you haven't been given your mentor yet, you should have this in the next couple of days. You can reach out to Sophie if you've got any questions. But smart matching ultimately is where we use an algorithm to help us find the best possible match for you based on certain criteria, including the segment of law that you're in, amongst other key criteria. The benefit of this ultimately is that it removes any bias when choosing a match. For any of you that don't have it yet, once your match is made, you will be notified by the platform and via email. So don't worry about missing it. In terms of your match, we do encourage you to stay open-minded about this. Maybe they're not exactly what you expect, or they mightn't have the exact role that you want one day, which I think often is what people think of when they think about their ideal mentor. But they will absolutely have valuable experiences that they can share with you, and importantly, fresh perspectives that they can provide. So what does it look like when you have your mentor? You'll have a one-to-one loop, which we like to refer as your online mentoring journal. And this is where you'll begin your journey and effectively log all of your communication with your mentor. You can set meetings, you can share files, you can launch video conference meetings if you are planning to connect online directly from your loop. I will highlight all of this is entirely confidential, so don't worry about what you're communicating about or sharing in this loop. We can't see it, and your program coordinator can't see it. All that your program coordinator and us can see is that you are communicating or that you have scheduled meetings, not the content of what is in the loop. So yeah, we encourage you to keep this up to date, and if you're logging meetings in here, they will sync with your calendar, provided that you integrate your calendar and your relevant systems. So it's likely that you will have, actually before we move on to your integrations, one other thing to just keep an eye on is the check-in prompts that you're sent. You will receive a couple of surveys throughout the life cycle of the program. They're very simple. They're usually just a one-click check-in. This is so that your program coordinator can understand if you're struggling or need any support. One of the surveys, just as an example, is the closed loop survey. So as Jen said, if you get 6 months into the journey and you feel like you've achieved all of your goals, you can come in and close the loop, and then you can just indicate that the reason you're doing so is because you've closed your loop. You've achieved your goals, and you can give some further commentary if relevant. Otherwise, you might actually have a different reason. You might say that your mentor actually wasn't responsive. This is really important feedback for Sophie to have, so that she can maybe check in on your mentor or see if there is another option to provide you. So we just encourage you to make sure you're answering those surveys as much as you can. There's not lots of them, don't worry. But ultimately, it's just going to benefit you because it's what allows the program coordinator to kind of understand where you're at, how you're feeling, and how you're going. So finally, in terms of the integration, so making things are syncing, making sure things are actually syncing properly. You've probably already integrated most of your things once you at the end of the sign up process. But if you haven't, you can access that just via the top right drop down where you've got integrations. Jump in here and connect your relevant accounts, whether that might be Zoom or you might use Microsoft Teams, and importantly, your calendar, so that when you schedule meetings in Mentor Loop, they actually sync with your calendar. Also, if you sync your calendar, it means that you and your mentor have visibility over when you're available. They can't see the detail of your calendar, don't worry, it's private. They can just see when there's free blocks of time to schedule a session with you. Finally, I want to just show you the Help Hub. So you have a link to the Help Hub. This really is a great resource for you. There is everything in here from how to utilize the platform to some best practice mentoring articles. Essentially anything you should need to know is in here, but of course, if you have other questions and there's something that you can't find, whether you're searching for it or just having a browse, please do reach out to us. You can do so via the little support chat icon. We are there to help you if you have any mentoring related questions or platform related questions. If it is something that's a little bit more specific to the Law Society or the way the program is being run, your program coordinator is probably the best person to ask. And you can access Sophie by the coordinator loop in Mentor Loop. That does bring me to the end of showing you the platform. So we'll just open up for any questions or yeah, if Jen has anything else she wants to share.
Thank you so much, Georgia. That was fantastic. I'm a great advocate of the platform, so I'm excited for the mentees to be able to get started in using it. Any questions? Okay, I'll just quickly just share my screen just to wrap up. So just go. So if you need to, let's get to this. Yes, so if you've got any questions moving forward, please do email us at mentoring@lawsociety.com.au, and your program coordinator, who's Sophie, who is next to me that we introduced earlier on, she will be able to help you with any of those. And we really want to thank your time for being here today. Your mentors are really excited to help you over the next 9 months. So please use their experience, ask questions, and remember you're in the driver's seat. So plow ahead and set those goals and be accountable to yourself and set those meetings with your mentor and have a really good 9 months ahead. So thank you again for joining us today. Thank you.